I got to believe that spring practice this year looks a whole lot different than last year, just because last year you such had a veteran foundation to build on. Do you feel there's maybe like going back to basics vibe going into this year?
Yeah, definitely. You know, a lot of guys don't know how we operate. Us as a staff, we're going to try to become more efficient. You know, our goals will be 20% more efficient this spring by cutting down some periods, changing a little bit how we structure some things, try to force ourselves to be more efficient, do some things in some skelly team periods a little bit different to get the same amount of work done in 20% less the time. So, yeah, I'm excited to see these guys work. I'm excited to see our staff work with a new group. And I think that's just the nature of college football now. Every few years, they're going to kind of go through, 2 to 3 years, and maybe different teams, different cycles. And we're kind of at that cycle.
Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. Kenny, can you talk about some of the staffing evolution? You have some of these assistant position coaches coming in, punter, kicker coach, Coach Meat is in, and anybody else in the roles, and how you think that's going to mesh?
Yeah, offensively, we're kind of status quo. We've moved around some guys. Trenton Morgay's going to work with wideouts now. We've moved Jeremy. We moved Omar to tight ends. We moved Jeremy to quarterbacks. So we moved around some people at tight end or on defense. So there's not as much change on offense. On defense, we did a little more moving. Obviously, BC is now the assistant coach, passing game coordinator. Is going to be really involved in a lot of stuff, holistically for the program, as well as involved in the passing game and defense. B. Ward is no longer coaching a position. Coach Ward, he's out of that room, so he gets to float as a defense coordinator and be involved in more areas. And then bringing in Meat, Coach Meat allows, as a corner coach specifically, that's just something he's done for a long time. Very, very productive at it. I worked with him at Oregon. He's phenomenal. Moving Gibbs, who was on offense, but he's a history of a DC and a special teams coach, or a safeties coach. Moving him to the safeties role, being around the program to just help, take stuff off B. Ward. It's a veteran guy who knows how we operate, been at DC for a long time, so he's in the safeties role. And then we just brought in Grant O'Brien. Grant is going to work and take Max Silver's job, the assistant linebacker's kind of role. He's another local guy. I actually played youth football with him, with the DB coach at Purdue, former quarterback, coached at ACU. His wife danced here, so a lot more connections. It's Coach Cyphers, obviously we're bringing in NFL punter for a long time, like 16, 15, something like that years. I wanted to get, as the rules change, you never used to have a specific specialist coach because you only had 9 countables. Then you had 10 countables, so then you added a special teams coordinator, but usually that coordinator did scheme, got the fundamentals of kicking and punting and snapping. So for me, when I really got to sit back and look, I said, well, you know what? I would never have an offense without a quarterback's coach. Why do we have a special teams without a specialist coach? So this offseason, that was one of my goals, was to hire the best guy I could to be fundamentally work with these specialist positions and only do that. Like his only job is to coach the fundamentals of punting, kicking, snapping, holding. And I'm really excited about it. And then Jack, obviously the scheme of special teams. He's going to, come in. He's done a great job at places in the past. Got great energy, great passion. The guys really liked him. I thought he did a really good job at the end of the year. And so I'm excited about that.
And Blake.
Hey, Coach, over here. Oh, wait. I think
You're always right there. That's a curveball.
Okay, because I was a little bit late, and obviously, literally, okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're
okay,
good.
Perfect. I am Abdi for Depth of Detail. So when it comes to navigating through the quarterback situation, what I'm talking about, like especially after the departure of Sam Levitt and other guys who are headed to transfer portal as well. What is your envision to finding the right starting quarterback for the season?
Yeah, I thought we brought in some good guys. We had good, Cam on the roster, and then we brought in 3 guys I felt really good about as well. So I'm excited for the competition. Brought in competent guys who have done it in college football, not guys that we're hoping can do it in college football. And then Jake, obviously a really productive high high school player, one of the best athletes on our team already. So really fired up about that room as a whole. I think it's gonna be a really fun room to watch throughout spring. And a really fun room to kind of see compete, and see grow together, and see get better in the system.
Blake and then Brett.
Hey Kenny, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. Specifically with Cutter, when you were looking at him, what were those conversations like with him, and how you knew he'd be a good fit here, and what excites you about his skill set and potential?
Yeah, what excites me about him is his completion percentage was fairly high for what they were asking him to do. Throw the ball further down the field and have a 65-ish completion percentage is pretty high in college football. A little more quick game and stuff like that. We're a little more 5-step and stuff like that. That right there can put you in the 70% range. If you're a 70% completion percentage guy in college football, you're probably gonna be really productive on offense. So what excited me was I saw the tape. I saw him operate within their system really well, get the ball to where they were supposed to go, extend with his legs when he needed to. He's a big dude. People don't know he was a really good basketball player in high school. He's a better athlete than people give him credit for. And then there's this weird testing called the S2 scores. I'm not going to release his score, but his score was really, 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 really good, which is a cognitive test that basically tells you your reaction time in real time.
Hey Coach, Brad, 3 TVs to 5. 2 parts. First off, any update on Charlie, how he's doing so far? And then secondly, obviously a lot of opportunities in the offensive line in spring. How are you approaching that position group? Some of the open jobs, some new guys, some young guys that are looking that have been around the world for a while.
Yeah, Charlie's obviously that's a close friend and close mentor of mine, so I'm not going to comment too much about him, but I think he's doing good and all that. Is doing good and all that stuff, but I don't want to get into his stuff. I'm thankful for what he did here. He helped build what we have now, which is a very high standard for a football program, which is awesome, which is how it should be. In terms of offensive line play, I think everybody saw in the bowl game, we've got a lot of young guys who we think are really good. We think we recruited well at that position. From the moment we got here, we thought that position was a recruited position. And we supplemented that position with transfers. It wasn't we're going to just be able to win on 5 transfers at that position, that we were going to have to recruit it and then supplement. And I think we've done that. I think we recruited a lot of the guys that are going to play for us, and we supplemented it with a few transfers that can really elevate us. But it's not just a transfer route, and our plan was never to have it that way. And I think those young guys are really maturing, and I'm really excited about it.
There we got Jordan and Mark.
Hey, Kenny, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Looking through the roster, a name that I think some people might be surprised is on there is Clayton Smith. Can you take us through, his getting an extra year and what we'll have this year?
Yeah, so they, after the bowl game, they're like, hey, because he didn't play in the bowl game because he had surgery on his knee to clean it up. Then they said, hey, there's a chance, based off something at Oklahoma, that he could get that year back as a medical, and he wanted to do it. And I said, okay, let's go do it. But I said, listen, you still have to prepare like one in the NFL, though. So he didn't sign with an agent. He just trained here separately from the team for the last month and a half, 2 months. Because I also didn't want him on the team if he wasn't going to be on the team, right? So he trained separately for 2 months. The waiver came back, it approved him, and me and him met, and he already knows our defensive system. He already knows what we want to accomplish, the techniques. So we talked about what to do in the spring, what other things he could potentially add to our football team, and where we can try him out and move him in the spring, and then make a decision on where he actually plays next year. So I'm excited about spring ball with him. I'm glad he's back.
And listed as an athlete, you mentioned some other roles. Is that strictly defense? Is that what?
No, he's gonna go play the offense side of the ball a little bit this spring. He was a really good wideout in high school. He's shown to do that a few times in practice when we have fun with it. But I really think this is an opportunity for us to see, can he actually become a weapon on that side of the ball in spring? Can he be a guy who plays, involved? Does he do both? Can he play a little bit of defensive end? Can he play a little bit of flex Y, X, big X, jumbo athlete type guy? So I'm excited to see what he does this spring. But, he gives us that flexibility because we feel good about our defensive end room and what we have right now going into spring. And his versatility and his knowledge of the defense, he can go back to defensive end full time if it doesn't work out in spring, and he'll be fine come game one.
Mark and then Craig.
Hey
members of his family sports. Actually, I have two. First one is just, could you go into more specifics on the S2 test, how recent that is, that's been kind of something you've used, and what you feel like it shows you that?
That's happened that's gone out for a while now, and it's just a score that basically it's this like company that you like have to touch buttons. It has a whole bunch of things that are way above my knowledge, but it correlates basically processing on the field, your ability to learn, how you learn. And there's a bunch of different companies that do it now. That's a company that I'm familiar with. So that just kind of affirmed what I saw on tape. You know, I always use stuff like that with all the analytics and things that we use now, like, okay, how long it takes from when his throwing motion begins to when the ball is released. There's so many analytics you can use now in sports. I think I more use the analytics to back up my belief. And then if the analytics don't back up my belief, that's where I like go back and really study or watch something again. But when it comes to that type of score, I watch it, I get an opinion of the player, and if I can get this other pieces of information, like, oh wow, that confirmed what I already think. All right, it's probably accurate, or that doesn't confirm what I think. Let me go back and watch, and I'm always going to be the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to that, not a score. But this was one that confirmed it and fired me out.
And then you made the call about somebody in the Valley writing the check, and we heard from Graham, I think we heard from you about that happening. Still kind of waiting to hear who that is, but how has that changed your job day to day with news of that sort of donation, if you have any?
Yeah, I just think we're building momentum. I think there was another big thing yesterday, which we'll get to when the time is right as well. So I think people are excited. People see the direction of the program. People see where we're headed, and we just got to continue to progress. Because the uncomfortable part with college football is everybody is. It's always it takes more every year. It takes more investment every year. It's not just going to stop. Like it's got to continue to be pushed every single year. So I think for us, we are heading in the right direction. We are getting some support at high level that we didn't necessarily get in years 1 through 3. Now that support is also keeping us up with the Joneses to survive in the new sport, while other teams are also getting more support as well. So we need this just to maintain the level and be able to compete in today's sport. So we're one of many schools that are all growing, and people are investing more because that's just the nature of it right now.
Craig Fouy in the back, ABC 15. Hey, number one, heading into your 4th year, can you just give us kind of a state of the union of where ASU football is right now?
Yeah, I think we're a football program that is established as much as you can be established in terms of what you expect to see. I don't mean established in terms like some people can cut that quote and be like established, oh, we are here and we have arrived. No. I mean, like, you gotta know what to expect. Our guys are gonna play really hard. You know the brand of football you're gonna get. There's not a random element to that, I would say. So I think that piece is established. We're gonna play a fun style of football. We're gonna be really open to people. The culture here is gonna be really open to people. It's gonna be, usually really, really good kids. Hopefully sometimes kids make bad decisions, but for the most part, kids who make good decisions, who are good ambassadors, who shake hands with people. So I'd say, where are we as a program? Culturally, we're I want to be. We have good people. We make decently good decisions. You're not gonna be perfect with 18 to 22-year-olds, right? The bad decisions you grow from, but the majority good decisions. And we have a lot of guys who I think people like being around, and they enjoy coming in the building and working every day. So I'd say our state of the union is, I think we're still trending in a positive direction, and we got good people, and I think that is where we're at, and that was kind of the goal to get to. Nowadays in sports, though, you can flip things in a year. Year one for us was a little different just because financially where we were at, and then some sanctions. But nowadays, like, you get 1 year to turn things around now, regardless of sport, because of the nature of the beast. So it's just part of it. Just got to try to keep it going.
And the quick follow-up to that, Coach, is you got 15 practices here in the next 30 or so days. What do you want to accomplish? What are you looking forward to get done on the field?
told our guys, I was watching an interview with a little kid asked a coach, a basketball coach, I can't remember, I was just listening to it, and he said, what's more important, technique or mindset? Was the question, and the coach was, like I said, I watched it late at night, I can't forget who the coach was, I actually remember the message, I can't remember the kid, the reporter's name, but it was a great question. What's more important, technique or mindset? And every coach is going to tell you mindset, and so what do I want to see? I want to see the mindset of a football team that responds to adversity, that responds to success when good things happen, that if things aren't going your way personally and somebody's beating you out, you're still about the team. You know, this is all about the team, and how can we grow this group of guys into a team that care about each other, that want what's best for each other, and understand that team success leads to individual success. So I could talk, I want to see the defense improve this, and I want to improve penalties, and I want to not turn the football over. Everybody in this room knows all that. What I really want to see is the mindset of a team that attacks every single thing they do with just a competitive passion every single day. They're not selfish, they're just about the work and the growth. And then them grow together to the number one priority, be about the team. That is my number one focus of this cycle, because at the end of the day, mindset beats technique. And we've got a lot of kids that have learned a lot of technique here who have moved on. You know, we have 4 guys that, you know, weren't in the top 900 of their recruiting rankings in high school who can go in the first 4 rounds. That's the first time, according to ChatGPT, that potentially, who knows how accurate it is, for a Power 4 team could happen. And that shows the development kids can get here. You can get the development, but developing the mindset is the most important thing of an athlete. And I think that is where our focus is I want the mindset of this team, the mindset of these kids, these players, to be right, to be passionate, and you know, just to be the best they can be, as locked in as they can be.
Andrew and Justin.
Coach, good afternoon. You kind of answered it in your last answer, but when you look in these position battles, what is the one thing you want to see from players that just stand out for you?
Yeah, consistency, trust, which is consistency. It's that like mindset that I always tell our staff this: if that guy messes up to lose a game, are you mad at yourself or can you sleep at night? I want the guys in the field that if he messes up, I'm so concerned on how he's feeling, because I know he feels so bad that I'm over there trying to make him feel better. Not why the heck was he in the game. That's just the reality of it. And sometimes coaches put the guy in that's the most talented because we want to put the most talented guy in the game, and then they make a mistake. The things that I want to see in these position battles: who can we trust? When the game is on the line, if you get beat, we say, you know what, I can live with that. I think that's the biggest thing in these position battles that I'm looking for. Who can build that trust with the players? Who can build that trust with the staff? Now, you obviously have to have the talent level. You can be the most trustworthy guy and look like me and run like me and hear everybody, right? So there's a sliding scale balance. But that is the separating factor there, is that piece of, can we trust you? Are your habits trustable, right? Can we sleep at night knowing you gave everything you got, if it worked out or if it didn't? That's going to be the separator.
Hey, Coach. Justin Lester, Toasted Devil's Digest. You mentioned that Brian Carrington's going to be doing a little bit of everything, being promoted to the assistant head coach role. How important was it for you to elevate him to that role with his track record in recruitment and also development?
Yeah, he's from where he started as a football coach to where he is now. He's grown, I mean, leaps and bounds as a football coach. He's always been a phenomenal developer. He's always been a phenomenal person. I believe in year one, somebody asked me, what made you think, somebody could find the clip, that Brian Carrington could coach corners from his transition? And I said, he's a great communicator and he's smart. Like, at the end of the day, coaching is not very difficult. Can you learn information, and then can you communicate that information, and then can you just be honest with people so they trust you? It's really that simple. So he had those qualities, and I wanted to give him a little bit more role in terms of being able to talk to different position groups in recruiting. I wanted to, get him out sharing our message as a football program, because I think he could be a head coach one day.
Michelle.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, can you talk about two players that we didn't see at all last year, Zach Swanson and Michael Gardner, where they are physically, and do you think they're ready to start out this spring and be able to do everything?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're still both going to be out for spring. Yeah, we'll see how that progresses and try to get them back. Hopefully, sometime in the middle of spring, end of spring, but hopefully back. Sometime in the process. Zach's an awesome kid. He was very, very productive for us in his year one. He played a lot of snaps in year one for us, and I'm excited to get him back. And Gardner just unfortunately hasn't been able to play since he's been here. He's been out. So hopefully we get those guys back in spring, but hopefully by summer to get in shape for fall camp at the latest.
Go.
Hi, Kenny. Doug Haller with The Athletic. Two questions. One, where do you think you have changed the most as a head coach since you arrived? And two, where do you think you need to be better going forward?
One, I don't let small things bother me as much. I've learned which battles affect the bottom line, which is our players. Like, wait, this doesn't affect our players. I don't need to go fight this, right? Not worth it. So I've really learned, I would say where I need to spend my time in terms of fighting battles, because I get picked to fight a battle every day, right? I mean, most people in their jobs get picked to fight a battle every day, and there's a problem or an issue every day. I've really managed delegating some of the off-the-field issues that don't affect the players. And I've really taken on the players. I'd say that's the one thing there. I think I got to get better at. I think I got to be more efficient on the practice field. Just watching our practices last year, I didn't think at times we were as efficient as we were the year prior. I thought there was more walking. I just thought, there's different ways to practice. You can make periods. Every period is 5 minutes, which is what I was trained in. Then in Oregon, it's not. Some periods are 4, some periods are 3, some periods are 17, right? So then you have that side that's super efficient, and my comfort zone was the other side. But I kind of liked what I did when I was in Oregon with Coach Lang, what I learned there. So this season we're going to kind of merge that together, try to be more an efficient team, because I feel like that's where I can grow as a head coach, is become more efficient with our staff and our players on the field, get the same amount of work done with 20% less time. So I put a lot of time into how to manage that, and met with a lot of people, how they do that, how they become more efficient on the field to get the same work in with less time. So that's really what I feel like I can grow in one of the areas. There's an endless list. If you want more, just call my wife.
Damon.
Hey, Coach, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. With just how big of a graduating class you had this past season, and you've talked about how players are the ones that carry over the culture each year. What are the leaders that you're looking for to do that on this group, or maybe do you think that the tone has already been set in the weight sessions?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a lot of guys. Normally we have a leadership council right now. Normally we get guys back that were on the council, and then I add like 3 to 4 guys to it. And we have a council. We go on our team compete teams, because we have competition teams all off season. This year we graduated so many guys that told everybody, listen, we're not just putting people on the leadership council. So I had CJ stand up, because at the time he was the only guy left from the leadership council. I said, he was on the leadership council, he's been on it since a freshman, could have gone pro, he's still here. You listen to him. Sit down. Okay. And then let's see who gets on the leadership council when this thing ends after spring ball, because I think it's going to be some new, I think it's going to be some old. But what I will say is the culture has been passed on to this new group. You think, okay, there's 50 or 45 new players, how does that pass on? Well, when those 55 or 60 guys that were here know how to operate, and when you sign guys that are good people, they pick up. And I think those guys that are here, that are returning, they know what it looks like to be successful, right? They know what it's supposed to look like. And I think they really took it into themselves, whether they're going to be on the leadership council or not, right? All leadership is influence, right? Leadership is hopefully positive influence. influence, right? But you can have negative influence, and nobody calls that leadership, or you call it bad leadership. Everybody just positive influence is leadership, right? And however you want to describe what positive influence is. I think we have a lot of guys. Instead of having 7 or 8, I think we have 35, 40 guys that returned that all have positive influence, that all do things right, that work hard, that are good people. And I think that person to one person, they connect to 2 people, you just grabbed everybody in your program. So I'd say that's where kind of that leadership is hit. It's almost been a community approach. And then there's been a couple times where I've heard where, CJ's kind of said something. Everybody knows CJ. CJ's not a guy who's a rah-rah guy. He's not a me guy. He's just a great person. He's a phenomenal football player. He's like the dream player to have in your program. To be honest, I don't think you can draw somebody up better than CJ as an ambassador of your program. So when he speaks, people listen. I think a couple times, he brought the guys up, spoke 20 seconds. People respond to him because he doesn't try it. It's just natural. He does what he believes, and that's what I think makes CJ special.
And then quick follow, we talked about the facility a little bit already, but what decisions made in the later part of that process, like in January and February, what excites you most about how it can help the football team?
Yeah, obviously practicing inside, the efficiency of not driving across the rural road to get to practice and getting back allows us to walk through more in there, because sometimes we make decisions to not do walkthroughs because the efficiency of getting 145 people when it's all said and done across rural takes 15 minutes minimum. So you've wasted 30 minutes on a 15-minute walkthrough potentially, or a 20-minute walkthrough, which you can't do. That's just bad use of time. So when we get that up there, we're going to be able to do more walkthroughs built into certain periods of pre-practice to become more efficient, because it's a 4-minute walk. 4-minute walk, 20-minute walk, walk back, we're good. Maybe even a 3-minute walk. So it's going to make us more efficient in practice. It's going to be able to allow us to do obviously more full-speed drills, in the heat, which I don't really mind that piece. But I think one of the things that really I'm most excited about it is, I've said this from day one, college football is not just about coaching. It's about getting a community involvement. And one thing that we've struggled here, because it is hot and it's asphalt, right, is to tailgate. Unless you are a die-hard person, you are not tailgating on asphalt. And nobody should blame you for that. To create an environment where there can be tailgating outside, tailgating on the grass outside, tailgating inside, 200 yards of covered space. We walk through it pregame with the band. That is something that creates affinity. That's something that gets people that are like, they're dipping their toe in ASU football. That gets it like, what do I do on Saturday? I go to the game? No, what do I do on Saturday? I go down there at 9 a.m. I watch games all day. I hang out with my buddies, and then I go to the game. That is the next step that the top programs in the country have. Top programs in the country, you're not taking over 5 to 9, 5 to 10 p.m. You're taking over Saturday, right? Or a big chunk of it, right? Other than your kids' Pop Warner games. Go to that first, and then come out to the tailgate. But that is what I think that it can provide. It can create an affinity approach that really can take, okay, we're selling out crowds. People are excited about ASU football. We're talked about on the national stage a little bit, not to the point where we can be. Now we get people engaged all day on a Saturday. We're getting more Valley involved. Okay, that's the next step in this process to really make this a die-hard ASU, what do you do on Saturday town? And that's what you need in order to sustain success in college football.
Adam and Jake. Hey, Coach. Adam Keating, Cronkite News. During the bowl game last season and during the prep for the bowl game, it seemed like you were a little bit more involved with the offense. Do you envision yourself getting more directly involved with the scheming and game planning with that group?
Yeah, I think at this stage, I have a little bit more time. Like I said, I've managed to not fight every battle and to utilize people to fight some battles for me, which does free me up to do more football. I've always been really involved or decently involved in both sides of the ball. On game day, leading up to game plans, I like to go back and forth, so I'm always going to be a guy that goes back and forth scheme wise, because I think it's good for defensive guys to hear offensive perspectives and that. But you know, my teeth were cut on offense, and I like it. I like to coach. Like, believe it or not, like it's fun, and I enjoy it, and I want to do it again. Actually, coach. So I am going to get back involved. That doesn't change Marcus's role. Marcus and I already have worked together at a high rate. It just means I'm going to be obviously probably running around a little more and a little more engaged and a little more involved in those meetings because I have the time to be a little bit more involved. But yeah, it's nice to, you know, when I'm not in those meetings, to have a guy who finished like second in the World's Award in those meetings. That's a positive. When the guy who's in the meetings next to you and that you're talking to about scheme is, you know, was the runner-up for the Royals 15 months ago.
Hey Kenny, Jake Garcia with 12 News. You have 3 underclassmen in the quarterback room and 1 upperclassman. What is the balancing act between going with a guy who gives your team the best chance to win this year versus maybe someone who is more projectable and can benefit from those reps and maybe has the highest ceiling in a couple years?
Now, we're always going to play the players that give us the best chance to win right now. I'm really not a guy who believes in, hey, even in year 1, we sucked. I didn't make one decision to like, oh, this is going to help us next year. That was not, I mean, we were horrible, and I still did every decision to try to win, because that's what you do. You want to win. You want to create a team that doesn't accept losing. So we're going to make every decision to try to win football games this year, and the guy that gives us the best chance to win football games this year, this game, this moment, from now at all positions. I think college sports is different than pro sports because you have seniors, and these guys have one senior year. If it's their last year, if it's their one senior year, I think it's our job and our responsibility to try to make it the best year possible for them. I just couldn't sleep at night knowing that, okay, there's a senior over here and I'm planning for next year. I just don't think that's right. Not that it's wrong, you know, other people would do it. I just truly believe, and we're going to do whatever we can to win right now.
Right there. We got 2 in the back. What's your name?
Noah. Noah Reed.
I helped you find here, didn't I?
You did. Thank you. I appreciate it. Noah Reed, Blaze Radio. You talked a little about culture earlier, and I had the opportunity to ask Joe Gibbs about culture last weekend, and he said it's about it's more than just putting people in the right places at the right times. It's about taking them from where they are now and getting to them somewhere that they can't go without each other. So I'm curious if you could talk more about the culture here at ASU and maybe how it's different than other programs you've worked with.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the differences from other programs. Talk about it here. We want people to be themselves. We talk about, there's a quote from Mike Crable, I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to get the gist of it right. I want you to be your own personality, but everybody to have the same mindset. I don't want people to come into our building and feel like they have to change who they are. So I'd say our culture, be a good person, make good decisions, have more fun working harder than anybody in the country. Well, be yourself. Just be you. I don't care who you is, as long as you are a good person that makes good decisions and you have a lot of fun working your butt off and competing every single day. Be you. We're good. We have to have the same mindset, but you gotta be yourself. And I think if everybody's themselves, it raises everybody around them. I really do. I think it raises you when you get to be yourself, be genuinely you, not try to be somebody else. Be weird, be quiet, be the dude who's really vibrant. I don't care. But be a good person that makes good decisions, that loves coming in every single day with a passion. And I'll say this, even if you don't agree with somebody's personality or maybe that person doesn't connect with you, I truly think people respect genuine. I think it's the same in almost every industry. Regardless of what you do, if you're like, I don't like that guy. But you know what? He is not a nice guy every day. At least I know what I'm getting, right? That's like this. If you're not a friendly person, right, just be a good person. You don't have to be friendly to be a good person. So like, it's just be you every single day and hit those 3 categories for me. Be a good person, make good decisions, and have a lot of fun doing what you're going to do. And if you never speak to anybody but you're those three things, you're a part of our culture. If you're Jacob Kangaika and you do those three things, you're part of our culture, right? That's it. So I'd say, what is our culture? It's that. How does it elevate people? Being yourself, I believe, gets the best out of people. I'm different as a head coach than a lot of head coaches, right? Because I'm just me. I'm not trying to be. If I tried to be somebody else, I'd be worse than I am now, right? Which would be horrible. So I just try to be me.